What's up, guys? Matthew getting ready to watch Season 2, Episode 7 of The Last of Us, the season finale. Just to, I say it in all my Last of Us episodes, I have already played The Last of Us Part 2, but I will not spoil anything. I will not hint at anything. I will not wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This is going to happen. I'm not going to do any of that. In some of the episodes, if I have something I want to say spoilery, I say it at the very end and I give a spoiler warning. So I'm not going to spoil anything. Okay. The season, well, obviously it's the season finale, so I'll take a step back for a minute. I thought that the season was okay. I think that the first couple episodes were pretty good, and I thought that last episode was really good. My favorite of the season by far. There's a couple weak spots in the middle, a little bit of a rushed pace, but overall I have been enjoying the season, so I'm very excited to see how they wrap this up. Obviously, I've spoken about it a lot. I'm very interested to see the exact point in the exact manner that they end this season, because the game has a very unique pace, a very unique structure. So I want to see if they do it, one-to-one. I want to see, if they're doing or what they're doing for the entirety of season 3. I'll talk about this at the end, and I'm thinking about it now. I will have a little bit of a spoiler talk at the very end of my video, because I have heard some rumblings, some rumors that they're extending this to a 4th season. To be quite honest, from my perspective, that is a huge mistake. Not only is it a mistake, but it's just like, if you rush to put the entire first game into one season, and then you take the second game, which takes place over a very shorter amount of time. Sure, you can argue it's longer, but a lot of it is gameplay sections. So you take a story that's essentially spans over a short amount of time, and you stretch it into 4 seasons. Little wonky there, but hey, I'm gonna see how they do this. I'm not someone who's gonna immediately shit on something. I'm gonna see how they do it. So I'm excited to see this. If you guys like the video, please drop a like and leave a comment. It really helps me out. I've got the full-length reaction up on Patreon, as well as the entirety of Season 2. And if you, like I said, enjoy my content, I would really appreciate if you subscribe. Let's get into the season finale.
Jesse, don't let me. Can't let me die.
I'm gonna be honest, how did we not get followed?
Artery. I need to push it through.
How do you know that? What if it's the wrong way?
I know where the arteries are.
No, you don't. You're not a doctor.
Dina, shut up!
It really, again, I've talked about the maturity level of Dina and Ellie, but it really feels like Jesse is like 15 years older at points. We got like a secret code, knock on the door, or is she just wandering in?
It's me.
What's the name of your horse?
What the fuck? What the fuck you mean someone shapeshifted into her? What are you talking about? Again, I wonder. I've been enjoying the season, but obviously, and I've said this before, when you're watching something be adapted,
The baby.
you just, how would she know? Sometimes it's hard when you're seeing an adaptation of something to be just immediately critical, not immediately shit on it, just immediately go pick it apart. You know what I mean? So I kind of want to reserve judgment until the end of the episode, but there's still a couple things that I'm like, what's going on?
Okay. Arms up. 3, 2, 1.
That is, I have definitely seen people say it, and I really do agree with it. Like, her Ellie's back. That should be the entirety of everyone's body. These characters do look a little clean for an apocalypse. I'm not saying they have to be like kicking like Daryl from The Walking Dead at all points, but they do all look like models.
I found more. Good. Does she know where Abby is?
Yes, but she only said 2 words. Whale and then wheel.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Maybe nothing.
Motherfucker
She
can't.
was infected. So
Motherfucker can't say basic buildings.
I thought it would be harder to do. But it wasn't. It was easy. I just kept hurting her. Did you kill her? I left her.
Jesus, that is horrible.
It was a Firefly base in Salt Lake City. They had a hospital there. They were gonna use me to make a cure. But it meant that I would have died.
Dina's going, I didn't really care. I didn't ask you about this at all earlier.
And he killed everyone in the hospital. Everyone.
Not everyone. That's the whole point.
So that's why they came. Did you know who they were? But I knew what he did. Sorry.
I don't know. I can't tell Dina's reaction. I just keep thinking back to the fact that Dina pointed a gun at Ellie seconds after Ellie got bit. You know what I mean? Like Dina's gonna turn on Ellie or something. A compliment to that scene. I really like the sort of the serious nature of Ellie. I think that has been something that has been sorely missing. I wish she was like that for more of the season. It feels like she will say something serious and then go into quippy dad joke mode. You know what I mean? And then I know people are gonna say she's obviously, you know, covering up her depression, but you know, it's not well done. It's not well done. You can tell me that that's the case, but show don't tell. This show, this adaptation, doesn't like remove or spit on or like it doesn't disrespect the source material. It just does everything slightly worse.
Promise.
So you know what I mean? Just slightly.
Give me your wrist.
I do kind of get the vibe too in this episode that
The other one.
Jesse is so much more capable and in the right than these other people, but the other people are the main characters, so it kind of it's kind of making me feel like Jesse is the bad guy, or Jesse's being rude, or Jesse's being disrespectful. When you know what I mean?
It's for good luck. Not sure it's
He did everything by the book. He's a good leader over at Jackson. You know what I mean? It's his kid.
We'll be safer together.
The rendezvous point's not far. Assuming Tommy's there, we should be back well before sundown.
Okay. Good.
You okay to barricade?
Yeah. Go.
Like they're like I don't know. They're like looking at him like he's evil. And Dina, I don't know. Dina's looking like she fucking hates Ellie.
Look, I know you're angry.
Last night, Dina said, I can't die. Not, I don't want to die. I can't. And then I offered her whiskey and she refused. Dina, the girl who's never turned down a free drink in her life, seconds before I was going to push a crossbow bolt through her leg.
That's weird. I don't know why.
That's weird.
But I'm not blind. Ellie, I see the way you two look at each other. It's different now. Yeah. And I bet she even tells you things she wouldn't tell me. Like how she's pregnant.
Oh shit, you were guessing? Oh, God.
The classic. I pull the information right out of you.
So just act surprised, okay? None of this has to change things between us.
Everything changing doesn't have to change things. Well, how about this for something new? I'm gonna be a father, which means I can't die. But because of you, we're stuck in a war zone.
Yeah.
So how about we skip the apologies and just go find Tommy so I can get us and my kid the fuck out of Seattle?
He's spitting. You know what I mean? But I mean that's a point of Ellie's journey. This is you know what I mean? She's led a death mission here. And again, the small detail, she's led a death journey here. She's depressed, she's this, she's that, but I feel like there's just a little too many jokes. Foreshadowing.
Give it a minute, see if it dies down, and then we'll...
God damn. Do I look like a Scarborough?
Go, get down!
This feels like the beginning to a video game cutscene. Oh, okay. They're just bad shots.
Fuck off.
Ellie! Ellie!
What?
There were 6 of them, 2 of us. What do you think would have happened?
You fucking kid.
Ellie, these people are shooting each other, lynching each other, ripping each other's guts out. Even the kids. I am not dying out here. Not for any of them. This is not...
Ellie shouldn't care. I love this. I think I said, no, I'm thinking back to season 1. I love when an apocalyptic show, you know, post-apocalypse, has real-life businesses and real-life, you know, torn down places. It makes the world feel so much realer, and I love that.
We still have Manny.
Well, we have a lot of Mannies, don't we? And enough Owens and Mells. But only one Abby.
The little twig is the most capable person.
But we have an entire fucking army out there, and you're acting like she's the most important. You in love with her or something? I don't know. You wouldn't be the first old man to...
Why is there a whole bunch of creepy, weird one-liners about... And it's all revolving Abby. Abby thinks old men are handsome, or like, what's going on? Wow, dude, I love this. You see, I forgot to say it. I was thinking I got interrupted by something. Well, I got interrupted by the show doing show things, in a good way. I was watching it. They, again, this isn't like this isn't a complaint. It's just a sort of a fun little thing I've noticed. There's certain things that they skip, like, you know, the school or, you know, Hillcrest, iconic moments of the game, and then some of this you go, let's get the bookstore, a building you just pass through. Let's put that in. I find that interesting. I would love to be in a room where the thought process of what do we cut, what don't we cut.
Remember that group that stopped by Jackson for a few weeks on their way south to Mexico?
From Alberta? Yeah, they had some decent shit to trade.
There was this girl with them. She was a couple of years older than me. I don't know if you remember. She was selling paintings, like landscapes and shit.
Were they good?
No.
I am not in an apocalypse. Not that like you can't have like the comfort or decoration, but I am not buying paintings from someone.
That's what happened.
Best 2 weeks of my life. But she couldn't stay. Didn't want to abandon her family like that.
Move them in here.
She asked me to go with them instead.
Go to Mexico.
And I wanted to.
That's a risky journey.
Because the people of Jackson took me in, raised me, cared for me. Because everyone there is counting on me to be the next Maria. Because I was taught to put other people first.
I'm not a selfish piece of shit.
Okay. Got it. So, you're St. Jesse of Wyoming, and everyone else is a fucking asshole.
You can make fun of me all you want, but let me ask you this, Ellie. I go with that girl to Mexico. Who saves your ass in Seattle?
I think that they've made Jesse a little too capable, and they've made Ellie a little too, not a little, considerably more incapable than she actually is. So it really does make Jesse look like the right person, even though they're kind of making him a slight asshole. Looks right out of the game, man. Like, that's crazy.
You hear that?
No!
Right direction.
No!
I don't see an easy way north, but if he got there, it means we can too.
Okay, why the fuck did she say whale wheel? Why not the aquarium?
What?
She's in the fucking aquarium.
Who?
Abby, the one who killed Joe, she's in the aquarium. It's too far to swim. We need a boat.
What are you talking about?
What?
Oh, look, Tommy's over there. That's where we're going.
You don't know that's him.
Ellie.
Oh my god.
Ellie, it wasn't in the best interest of the community.
Fuck the community! All you do is talk about the fucking community.
He's a little obsessed.
You think you're good and I'm bad? You let a kid die today, Jesse, which is why
It wasn't in your community. Let me tell you about my community. My community was beaten to death in front of me while I was forced to fucking watch. So don't look at me like you're better than me, or like you'd do anything differently if you were in my shoes, because you're not.
I really hope you make it.
I'll talk at the end. I like that scene. Thought it had some great acting in it. Why does she look evil? Looking any big waves? Oh, bro, this section of the game so annoying because the boat keeps, I don't know, running out of power. I don't engines mess up or something like that. I hate that, man. This is a great shot right here. Jesus. I mean, now you're just surfing it. I would just go into it, right? I don't know water dynamics. Wow. Hurry up, dude. Oh my god. Get up! I'm sorry. I know her body has just been put through a tremendous struggle. But oh my god.
No! I'm not from here! I'm not a wolf! Tell them!
What do you mean tell them? What do you mean tell them? Like I know you or something. Oh my, Jesse or Tommy or how? What's going on? Wolf's gonna intervene?
The village. The village!
Are we near the village? Did we wipe out on the island? I don't like that. That is... It's a Deus Ex Machina. How, like are they on an island, or are we just close to Scar territory? What? Okay, we did end up on the island. I don't like that. I'll speak about that at the end. This storm looks really good. And another compliment. It's obviously been dark for like 15 minutes or something like that. It's dark, but it doesn't look like unnaturally like pitch black. You can't understand a single thing. So I think that they've done a good job with that.
I have a choice, do I?
Right out in the open.
It's Abby.
Of course you have a choice, and so do I. And I'm choosing no also because it's Abby.
Fine, I'll do it on my own, like always. I can make it there and back in 30. If you're still here, you can get on board.
30 minutes?
Going with us. If you're not, you're not.
Fuck you, Owen.
Hands up. Where's Abby?
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm back.
We don't know where she is.
You were just talking about her, so yes, you fucking do.
She's... Yeah.
You, bring me that map. You're gonna point to where Abby is. And then you're gonna do it in a better fucking match.
You ain't Joel.
You have 5 seconds. 4.
She's gonna kill us either way.
No, I won't. Because I'm not like...
No, I won't. I would never hurt a soul. I just want Abby.
2.
I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll show you.
Slowly.
Slowly.
Like, you think about it from their guys' perspective. The absolute worst possible moment that she could show up, she shows up. Hey, he did it, not me. Keep your hands still. Oh, wow. A twofer.
Knife? Do you have a knife? I only have 30 seconds. Get the fuck over here, please, please.
Wow. Wow, that's horrifying.
That's all it is. And then be sure to tie the cord.
Oh, but Mel's a fucking badass, dude.
Work fast.
That's a horrifying...
Work fast. Okay.
Dude, that's...
How deep? Deeper than you think. Which way?
Just do it!
Which way?
I don't know... Oh my god.
Oh, transfers. Transfers. What? I don't know what that means. Love transfers. Love transfers. What?
I mean, at this point, you gotta rip it. If you really want to do it, just do it. Oh my god, dude. I love that. You see, man, like, I'll talk about it at the end. There's certain things that they change or add that I love, and then there's obviously some stuff they remove that's, you know, piss poor. But that whole exchange right there, I really like that. That's heartbreaking.
Let's go, come on. It's okay, come on.
They're making Jesse sit, dude. That's crazy. I'll talk again. I feel like I've said it like 4 times already. I'll talk about that at the end. A whole bunch of stuff at the end. I just expect them to start throwing fucking fists, dude. They hate each other.
Thank you for coming back.
Maybe I didn't want to. Maybe Tommy made me.
Nah, we know you, buddy. You're a little softy at heart.
But also, the thought did occur. If I were out there somewhere, lost and in trouble, you would set the world on fire to save me.
I mean, maybe after Ellie finishes her mission. Oh my god, so fast paced. Uh oh, uh oh, oh my god.
Stand up.
Wow.
Stand up. Hands in the air or I shoot this one too.
Just run out.
Shut the fuck up. Stop.
Her voice is so good. Like, my heart, dude. Like, it's getting my heart, dude.
He killed my friends.
No, I did. I was looking for you. I didn't mean to hurt them. I know why you killed Joel. He did what he did to save me. I'm the one that you want. Just let him go.
I let you live.
Oh, the iconic line.
I let you live.
Oh no, a little different.
And you wasted it.
Gunshot. Looking right out over it. Wow. Beautifully done. Look at that, man. That looks great. That looks great, man. I love that. Okay, guys, that was season 2 finale of The Last of Us, and I want to preface this discussion by saying, and again, I don't know if I'm going to go into any specific spoilers, but if I do, they would be at the very end. Okay, I wouldn't, you know, I'll probably speak about a couple, but as of right now, I'm not going to speak about anything. I do want to start off the discussion by saying, to remind people again, well, first of all, I liked that season. I didn't love it. It wasn't like the best season of TV I ever watched. It had a couple problems, in my opinion, not just from a standpoint of stuff missing from the game. I thought that there was a couple missteps in writing. And I'll maybe get into a couple, but I want to start off. I think I said that for the third time. This is an adaptation of something that I played 5 years ago. Well, I've replayed multiple times since, and it's not like it's been 5 years. That's not the point I'm trying to make. I'm going to be a little more critical of this, okay? I know that, like, I think that anyone who calls this show terrible is kind of stupid or stuck in their own bubble, because I know genuinely like a dozen people who love this. You know what I mean? Not in my spare time, off camera, I rewatch each episode with my family. You know what I mean? So, and they love the show for the most part. So, I don't think that the show is bad at all. But I am going to nitpick. Again, not because I'm shitting on the show or anything like that. It's just because it's the first couple things that come to my mind. I'll start off with what I said at the beginning. I've heard, and again, I don't know if it's 100% guaranteed, I've heard it from a couple different sources, that they're doing a 4th season. That, to me, is a little... Obviously, that end scene, you know what I mean? Abby day 1, you can obviously tell we're going to get Abby's 3 days. And there is more story after that, and there's a little bit. So my fear, and it's not a fear anymore, it's a 100% thing. Well, is the entirety of next season going to be Abby's 3 days? You know what I mean? To me, that's a little absurd. That's a little preposterous, if you ask me. Because Ellie's 3 days gets rushed to high hell. You know what I mean? Rushed into like 3 episodes essentially. And the others are set up and then a flashback. And Abby's gonna get like a full drawn out, not drawn out as in like a brush, drawn out as in like getting the specific time necessary to tell the story. That's a little, come on now, because obviously there's more stuff, but I mean, the pacing is weird when you're adapting something, because there are certain scenes in the show that they make like 15 minutes, and it's in the game it's like a 10-second scene, and then there are scenes in the game that are like 3 hours and they completely cut it. So it's not a negative, that's just, you know what I mean, when you adapt something, you choose what to adapt, you choose what to do, you choose what to give time to. But I would really think that leaving Abby's 3 days for an entirety of its own season would be a little disappointing, because, and again, no spoilers or anything, if you, obviously, you know what I mean, you would end the season at the exact same place, with Abby showing up to the theater. So I don't necessarily know if that would be a good end point for a season again. But we will find out, I guess. Along with that, one of my most major complaints, and it's something that they did a lot in season 1, and I called it out for. First of all, obviously it's rushed. That's like I'm not saying it's bad. Okay, I really want people to understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's bad, but it is rushed. There are so many things that are cut, and I know, and I had a discussion with someone in the comments last week about, well, did you expect them to add everything? No. The problem isn't anything specifically being cut. It's the fact that like 50 things have been cut, and it feels so rushed. This episode, the main conflict felt like arguments with Jesse. And I don't get me wrong, I love character work. I like arguments. I like, fundamental disagreements, or I like that. Obviously, you know what I mean, Jesse gets shot right in the face at the end there. So, whereas in the game, I'm not saying that I wanted this show to be all action. I'm not a big action fan in general, but Ellie's Day 3 is a long, drawn out, you know what I mean, thing where you get more character development over a longer period of time. You get you know what I mean, action, and that it just feels like we cut straight to it, you know what I mean, and then like that weird. I said this isn't like, again, not looking at it from a game. That weird thing with the Seraphites, with the boat. That's it. Really, it felt like the show skipped all the action, and then at the last minute went, nah, we need to add in something. So let's add in a Deus Ex Machina scene of her, getting ready to be strung up, and then they stop. You know what I mean? Like, that's a little, I don't know. And leading into, and you guys know me, I'll yappity yap. I also want to say this. I'm gonna probably split the chapter. I'm saying some of the things that I didn't like. I'm going to go into a section of stuff I did like. So maybe you could call me out for being negative before I'm positive, and that is, I mean, that's okay. I'm sorry I did that. It's just the first things on my mind. Season 1 and Season 2 did this thing, to where obviously I've complained that it's rushed, they didn't give enough time to do certain things, but then they don't focus on the stuff that's happening. The Last of Us, both of them, specifically the first one, are very simple stories. There isn't 50 main characters. You know what I mean? The first game is literally all Joel and Ellie. It's all Joel and Ellie. Okay? The second game, obviously there's a little more, but for Ellie's days, it's Ellie, Jesse, and Dina. You know what I mean? At differing points of the story. And because you're the main character, you're Ellie or you're Joel, and you're with one other person, the entire time the characters are talking to each other, you're getting to know each other. The development is happening while the gameplay is happening. So that's the main thing that I don't think I've explained for people who don't like video games or play video games. When I say cut out action, the development happens during the action. So when you get rid of all the action, you have to smush down, you know what I mean, hundreds and hundreds of lines of dialogue into like 2 scenes. And it doesn't hit very often when they do it like that. But as I'm saying, sorry, this is a long drawn out point. For instance, we talk about Ellie's days, Ellie's 3 days, and how she's essentially with Dina for the first 2, and then she's with Jesse for this last one in the show. I think that there was sufficient time spent between each of those pairs, each of those duos talking to each other, because instead of having an extra like 10 minutes each episode, they would randomly cut to Isaac. You know what I mean? And again, this isn't a spoiler. You could just think of this. Obviously, this whole stuff with the WLF, it's going to be more focused on next season with Abby, who is a member of the WLF, and we're going to see her perspective for these 3 days. Why are we showing that stuff, the Isaac stuff, the Wolf stuff, during Ellie's time? It just seems like you're cutting away from her story to set up, action, or to me, the only inclusion, again, I obviously, again, no spoil, I know what's going on with Isaac and the WLF, and I know everything that's going on. But from the outside looking in, just looking at the TV show, it really feels like the only reason they showcased Isaac this entire episode, which will probably at least 6 minutes of screen time, which could have been given to Ellie and Jesse and Dina, or those conversations. It just felt like it was all included just so Ellie could have a run-in at near the end of the season with the Seraphites, and then get saved by, God. So I didn't I thought that was poor writing. It's very hard to, again, no, it felt like there was multiple Deus Ex Machinas this season. It really did, and again, it falls into that same exact thing that I'm talking about. Ellie feels so immature and incapable. Those feels like her 2 main traits, when obviously I feel like in the game it's more her rage, her grief, her sorrow that's forefront. And I will say, and I loved Bella Ramsey for large parts of this episode. I felt like Ellie got more serious at certain points, especially. I was gonna say especially in the Jesse conversation, but again, it's also my point. I feel like Jesse is. I could see a world, and I'm very interested to see how people react to this. That didn't play the game, that just watched the show. If they felt Jesse was like an asshole or anything like that, because he came off very rigid, very, you know what I mean. He almost, what's the word I'm trying to look for? He felt that he was like above everyone. I almost got like a tinge of that. And obviously, I loved Ellie. I loved their argument. I said, when it happened, that was a great scene. but it almost felt like, hey, we need to get rid of all of the. There was no infected, and again, same problem with last season. There isn't enough infected. I want to make this very clear because people don't understand when people say this. As you know, when I say infected, I'm not saying, oh, I just want there to be infected fights every 5. No, I'm not saying that. The humans are more important. The human conflict, the human enemies are more important. You know what I mean? But you're in a zombie apocalypse. You know, and especially you're in a zombie apocalypse in which a whole point of the first game is the fact that our character is immune, and the cure does not come out of that immunity. So you know what I mean? It's almost like you have to showcase that the world has been doomed, and I don't really feel like they did a good job of that this season. I feel like it was just, you know what I mean, characters wandering in a dead, empty city with no humans or no infected there for large portions. And then something I mentioned is in episode 2, I believe. No, in episode 3, maybe. You know, when they showcase Jackson, you know, in the baseball games and the therapy and all that, it doesn't seem like the world is that bad. And obviously, it's an apocalypse, but it feels like society has firmly planted itself. You know what I mean? Back. It's not going anywhere. So I don't know. I feel like if an argument you're trying to make is that Joel has doomed the world and Joel did the most terrible decision of all time, you haven't done a good job at showcasing the fact that we've been left in a terrible position. So I don't know, because I think to next season too, there's a lot of action. You know what I mean? All the stuff about they got rid of the action in Ellie's days. Abby's days are even more action packed. You know, it's very interesting. And again, I repeat, how long is the next season going to be? If it's like 6 or 7 episodes, and they, you know what I mean, like obviously we have Abby's 3 days. I would assume we're going to have some sort of Abby flashback to parallel Ellie's flashbacks. I would assume that they're going to do all of that stuff in one episode like they did with Ellie. I would assume maybe we get like a Tommy episode, because Tommy this season was, you know what I mean, we saw him at the beginning, we saw him at the end. We didn't see anything in the middle. We didn't get any of his inner struggle or what he was going through, so I would assume we're going to see that. That's 5 episodes right there. I'm trying to, you know what I mean, I'm thinking, what would we get? Some sort of, well, we already got, you know, Isaac's origin, but because they do tend to sort of pick a character and be like, okay, we're gonna give more. Maybe there are 2 other characters if you that maybe could be given a focus that, you know, weren't in this season that should be in next season. That'd probably be a 6th. So that's 6 episodes right there. But again, the problem with that is that that's just assuming that you're going to give Abby 3 days. And I don't like that. It's rushed. It's really, really rushed. Just putting 3 days, because I don't know. I don't want to come off as so negative and like I hate everything, because I don't. I just think that, again, what I said in the beginning, and I think that this is a great show. I think that it's an excellent show for people who never played the game. But this show does everything slightly worse than the video game. So that's the part where, like, I hope you guys understand. I mean, like, I don't hate anything. It's just, I'm picking it apart. I don't even like to. It's just, why did they change that? Why did they do that? That's a little worse. That's a little worse. And again, I repeat, I think my most major problem with the way that they adapt is the idea that they rush and condense the main story, and then while doing that, they add stuff. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, what is it? Is it episode 3, I believe, where they show the Seraphites for the first time? And they give, like, you know what I mean? Like, they give a whole scene, a good like 4 minutes or something like that, to just showcasing how the Seraphites work. I think that's a waste of time, because we can see that next season, in which the Seraphites are a little more focused on. They're not, like, you know what I mean? They're not the most major part of the story, but they're more prevalent. Whereas Ellie's story is just obsessed with finding Abby. You know what I mean? I don't know. Isaac, obviously, Abby's a wolf, so she's at a wolf facility in the last scene. We're going to get more of the WF. We're going to get more Isaac through the lens of Abby's perspective. So why are we getting shots showing where Isaac is and what he's doing in Ellie's story? I think that is wasted. You know what I mean? Like, they spend 3 minutes, you know what I mean, show the boat scenes, just showing people getting on boats. Like, come on now. I don't know. And then the final thing I'll say, because again, this is a point I want to make. I thought that episode was okay, but for a finale, I didn't think it was anything special. I think there was like a mid episode of the season. I thought that last episode and the first 2 episodes were significantly better. So, because another thing too, there was like it felt like a 15-minute stretch of episode to where there was no dialogue, there was nothing. It was just Ellie, you know what I mean, looking at people get on boats and riding a boat and, you know, almost getting killed and then walking to the aquarium. And, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't, again, I want to repeat, I'm not some sort of, you know what I mean, master critic or anything like that. I'm not like sitting down and writing a whole, you know, I'm not like writing a video essay or anything. This is just all off the cuff sort of stuff. And there was a couple things in this episode that just didn't sit right for me. I am excited to see how they do next season. And I'm very excited to see how people who are watching the show react to that Abby Day 1 thing. You know, the fact that we're going to see her perspective, her elongated perspective. We're going to see, you know what I mean, 3 full days and probably a flashback. And, you know, we're going to see all of that stuff. I'm very intrigued to find out how people react to that. I'm going to back up. And again, I apologize if I started off with the negativity. It's just, again, as someone who, a Game of Thrones fan, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this, when you are watching something that you like, and again, I love The Last of Us Part 1, I like The Last of Us Part 2, when you see it being adapted, not a gut wrench, like a negative thing, because again, I can separate myself. I can say that, as I've said multiple times, I think that this is a great show by itself. Not the greatest show of all time, you know what I mean? I think that it's good. It's a solid show. I know people love it. So there's a couple weird changes. I feel like I talked about most of them. Again, I don't want to sit here I don't care that much to continue talking. But I'll get into some of the positives this season. I thought that the acting was pretty good. Bella Ramsey obviously was the sort of main focal point of the season, and I thought that they did a phenomenal job. Okay, again, as I said multiple times during my reactions for The Last of Us, I think that the hatred, the negativity towards Bella Ramsey has been, like, honest. I don't people make a joke like, oh, you sound offended, you sound this, you sound. It's been a stain on you know what I mean, the community. It really has. It's been horrible. God, I don't think that they're the greatest actor of all time, but they had some solid scenes. And as I said, I think that my only complaint with Ellie would be the fact that, you know what I mean, she's way too goofy, way too immature. But it's not like Bella Ramsey showed up on set and started acting like a clown, and, you know what I mean, the writers were like, no, you can't act like that, and Bella Ramsey put her foot down and said, no, I'm gonna be a clown. No, the writers wrote it. They wrote the character. Again, controversy around Bella Ramsey and this and that, doesn't look, you know, older or whatever. Bella Ramsey played a really good young Ellie. And I think that from the eyes of the writers, they played that role so well that they couldn't mature the character as much as it needed to be. But I liked Ramsey's acting. I really did. The flash, again, I think that the penultimate episode was the best episode of the season by far. I thought that it was really good, really well acted. Dina was okay. Again, I don't want to. I'm sorry if I'm complaining or whatever. I feel like she was a little too negative. Not negative. I feel like there was, I don't know how to word it. The relationship felt off. You know what I mean? Like, it felt like such stark, like, contrast where either one minute they're like the love of each other's lives and they're lovey-dovey, kissy, 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 or hard cut and Dina's acting like a parental figure towards Ellie, or hard cut, there's like animosity between them, and I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that the scene of Ellie getting back to the theater this episode, I feel like was really off. In fact, I would argue that out of all of the scenes in the show that were adapted from the video game, I feel like that was the one they missed the mark on the most, if that makes any sense. Something felt off. It didn't feel like, you know what I mean? And that's, Ellie goes through this traumatic event, you know what I mean, and then walks into the theater and is cracking jokes and, you know, smiling and all that, and then she finally sulks down in the room with Dina, and, you know what I mean, lets some of that emotion slip through. And I can hear some of you talk like, well, yeah, she's putting on a front, she's lying to people, she doesn't want Jesse to see. I understand that, but it really does feel like she goes from clown mode to psychopath. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like she's a jokester, you know what I mean, class clown, and then she immediately turns into a psychopath, like talking about, like, I don't know. Because that's another thing too. It's the person who I was talking to in the comments last week, too. I had a great discussion with them. They brought up or they asked, like, do you watch the breakdowns of each episode? And I said, no, I don't. I don't watch them for this Game of Thrones. I don't watch them for any HBO show. I think that they're not necessary to watch. They shouldn't be necessary. If there's any information that is needed to be said in those, then you miss the point in showing it in the episode. But the reason I don't is because the creators say weird things all the time. For instance, I keep saying Ellie feels psychotic at points. It feels like a serial killer. One of the writers said Ellie was, you know what I mean, Ellie was drawn to Joel because of his violence. That's not. Come on now. That's just simply no. I don't like that. So yeah, like I said, Ellie at points just, I don't know. She feels less depressed and, you know what I mean, vengeful and more psychotic or like a clown. But when they write Ellie good, I think that Ramsey does a phenomenal job. Young Mazzino did a really good job. Again, a little bit of an asshole, or I don't even know if that's the right word, this episode, but I think they did a great job. Tommy was obviously barely in the show this season, but I thought that his discussions with Gail and all that in the beginning, and when he cried over Joel's body, I thought that was well acted. I like the cast. I don't love the cast. I like the cast. I don't think that there's any sort of specific spoilers that I want to talk about. Again, they did change some stuff, but I talked most about it because that's the final thing I'll end it off with, and I hope I get the words out correctly. The problem these last couple episodes hasn't been they specifically removed something that ruins the story. That's not been the problem. They haven't done that. The problem is just an accumulation of weird pacing choices, cutting things out, having weird dialogue exchanges, to where the product, to someone who knows what the story should be, feels a little off. But again, I think that it's a disgrace to call this show terrible, or that this show terribly acted, or anything like that, because it has some strong points. It has some strengths. And I know that a casual HBO member or viewer loves it. So you can't say anything. You know, they're getting to their they're getting to who they want to get to. They're entertaining them, and that's all that matters. I think that a lot of people who are sitting through an adaptation of something they love, whether it be a book adaptation or a video game adaptation or anything, I think that they're of the opinion that the adaptation is made for them, and just simply that's not the case. If something's being adapted, it's being adapted to showcase that broad story to a new audience. So again, as someone I went through Game of Thrones. I'm going through House of the Dragon. I know how it feels. So it's, you know, it's not the end of the world or anything like that. But I do want to, my final point, I want to make people understand. I'm not shitting on the show. I think that the show has some strong points. It's just, when you're watching something that's been adapted, the first things you pick up on, okay, is stuff that's wrong, stuff that's incorrect, stuff that's worse. If that makes any sense. At the same time, again, there's dozens of times while I'm watching that in which I complimented something. Hey, I like that change. Case in point, I almost forgot to mention it, and this will be the final thing I talk about. That Ellie scene with Mel, heartbreaking exchange, not in the game. You know what I mean? Obviously, Ellie stabs her in the neck during a struggle, and then obviously that guilt and everything hits. But I like that. It makes it more heartbreaking. It adds another layer to it. So props. And again, you know, not only does it make a parallel to Ellie's mother in the show, but, you know, obviously the Dina stuff. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that aspect. Yeah, like I said, I think this was probably, I'd probably say this is like my 5th favorite episode of the season. Definitely not one of my favorites. So, I don't know. I'm scared. You know what? I do have one spoiler thing I want to say regarding action. So I will end it here for those of you who have not seen the game. So I appreciate you guys for watching. If you guys like the video, please drop a like and leave a comment. It really helps me out. I've got the full length reaction up on Patreon. And if you enjoy my content, please subscribe. I will now be getting into one singular spoiler that I want to talk about. It's going to be 30 seconds. So please leave if you don't want to hear the spoiler. The final thing I'll say, and it's regarding the action, cutting out all the action. And the fact that it really feels like the show doesn't want to spend the budget to do that stuff. You think about next season. Next season has, I would argue, 2 action set pieces that are a necessity. Okay, obviously, the Scar Island, that whole, again, one of the most visually striking, you know, segments of a video game I have ever played. It is an incredible sequence. And it's connected to the main story. It cannot be removed. That cannot be removed. It can't be just something Ellie sees from afar. You know what I mean? It has to be something that is showcased in the story. Not only that, but the Rat King. Again, story-wise, you can very easily write around it. It's just Abby going down to a basement. And, you know what I mean? Yes, it's been hinted at during the season, but if you didn't have the budget for it, you can easily skip it. It's not, you know what I mean? It's an epic moment of a game. It's not story important. But it is the most iconic moment of the entire game. Without a doubt. Fans would be outraged if it's removed. So it's not being removed. It's 100% in the second season. You know what I mean? Those 2 pieces of action right there are without a doubt going to be the most expensive things this show has ever done. Even like the Horde scene should be nothing compared to Scar Island. Okay, and obviously the CGI that they're going to have to use on the Rat King is going to be insane. So I'm telling you guys right now, that's going to be the only 2 action sequences of the entire season. You know what I mean? The rest of it is going to be Abby and Manny and Lev and Yara just walking. You know what I mean? It's just going to be them walking. And they're going to skip all the important dialogue scenes because that's what they do. But I guess I'll say this too while I'm in the spoiler thing. So we're going to have Abby 3 days. We're going to have a Tommy episode, I would assume. We're going to have an Abby flashback. We're going to have Lev Yara flashback, I would assume. Not necessarily even flashback, but following them. After that, I don't know what else. I mean, would we... Because again, that's another thing too. Ellie felt like she did... Not felt like. She did. She did considerably less than she does in the game. You know what I mean? Ellie video game Ellie is everywhere, doing everything. Whereas show Ellie just felt like she sat in a theater and, you know what I mean, she went to 3 places or whatever. Abby goes even more places, you know what I mean? She's at the base, where she's at the stadium, and then she's at the fob, and then she's at You know what I mean? The meeting Chinatown or whatever. You know what I mean? Then she's in the forest, and then she's at the hospital, and you know, I mean, she's everywhere. She's at the marina. She's at Scar Island. So that, you know what I mean? Or are they going to cut those? Like, or how are they going to condense those? Because there's certain things. I would feel like Abby needs to be there at the marina for, you know what I mean, Tommy to shoot, so she can see Manny. But are they going to really write? You know what I mean? Or how are they going to write Abby going there? Because if not, are we going to get a Manny episode? Or is Manny only going to be, you know what I mean? Are we going to follow Tommy in an episode and then Tommy just shoots Manny at the end? I don't know. I don't know yet. Obviously, that's going to be it for me. Again, just to summarize, not my favorite finale, but I felt that it was an okay season. I don't know how long. I don't know how long the wait for the third season is going to be. I would hope it's not too long. Again, it's going to be like 6 or 7 episodes, so I really hope it's not more than a year's long wait, because that's absurd. Wait times in TV are getting absolutely absurd, especially for content that is not up to par. It's not, you know, long. It's not. It's short. It's rushed. It should not take more than a year. So, but I'm excited for it. I will see you guys hopefully relatively soon for the season 3 premiere. I really appreciate you guys for watching. If you guys like the video, please drop a like and leave a comment. It really helps me out. I have got the full-length reaction up on Patreon, as well as the entirety of the second season of The Last of Us. And the final and most important thing, if you enjoy the content that I make for the channel, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe. Again, it really helps me out. I'll see you guys. You guys have a good one.